everyone! Welcome to episode 50! Hey guys, I work at Toa Payoh area, so I was on the way back home and something creepy happened. And this was not like an old story, recently, a few days before Halloween some more.
Hey, I also kenal
Serious ah?
Yeah. Aiyo.
Eerie Toa Payoh. Okay, tell us what happened.
Okay, so this one is actually very creepy. Okay, so this also before the Halloween lah, maybe like 1 week before Halloween.
Oh, okay.
So if you clearly remember, we actually met in Toa Payoh to get something. Okay, yeah. So what actually happened? I was waiting at the old Chunky at Toa Payoh Central. Okay, so he messaged me saying that he's going to drop next stop. Okay, so I thought like, okay lah, just wait at the bus stop lah. Okay, so when I walking towards the bus stop, right, there was a group of people coming in front of me also because they actually get off from some other buses lah, so they actually going to take train. Something was like bothering me because there was this particular man was shouting and shouting and shouting. Okay, he looks perfectly normal. Okay, he was carrying a haversack bag. But the only problem was I don't understand what he was talking. As in, I don't understand what language he was talking. Okay, it was not Malay, it was not Mandarin, English, or yeah, it was like I can't even recognize what kind of language is that. Yeah, so he was just shouting and shouting and shouting. What is the thing is that because I couldn't see who he was shouting at. Okay, because he was shouting to the wall. So like the person is inside lah, he's outside, so I only can see him.
Okay, that means there's a wall here.
Yeah,
this
so
person is shouting and whoever is shouting is behind this wall area.
Yeah, so he's actually outside. So he's actually looking up and talking. And whoever behind him, right, they didn't react anything. Usually when you like fighting, like so they will give you that kind of look, right? You know, like a gamer look. But all was like normal. So I was like, who is this guy shouting and shouting? So after the crowd came lesser, and I almost reaching where he's shouting at, he then only walked away. So I actually take huge steps to see actually who is he shouting at lah. But when I reached there, where he was shouting, to my surprise, there was no one. Okay? So I don't know who he was shouting at. But when I was just standing and looking at him, I felt something because he's over here, right? So this is the wall, right? I felt like a huge shadow. And when I looked, there was a shadow. And within blink of my eyes, I blinked twice, it just disappeared. So it's not my shadow, it's nobody's shadow there. Okay? And I don't think that the person if you all tell that, oh maybe you are imagining like maybe there was someone there, but you know, actually no, it's actually a huge walkway lah. So he himself still walking. So in front of him there's no one, behind him also there's no one. Yeah, so after that he's just normal. After that also he was not shouting. So I was like, who's this shadow? So I was really stoned. I was like just waiting there. I was like speechless. And then he get down and he was like, why you look so like this one? I was like, nothing. I like at the point of time like something like tell me I just forget.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised now only you're sharing this.
Yeah, so when I think about it, he was actually looking up.
That person lah.
When I was like still walking to go there, right, he was looking up. So I was like, who is he shouting at? I was like, why are they having like a huge fight? But now when I see, yes, the shadow is actually very big. And to be frank, this was quite sunny. Yeah, it was very hot.
Wow.
So don't know what I saw, but I really got creeped.
Yeah, because okay, for normal bystanders, passerbys, right, they might think that this guy maybe is of unsound mind. Like maybe he mad a bit, shouting to himself or what, typical mindset lah. But for you to literally see a shadow there, that means the person was normal. Maybe he was so frustrated and he started shouting back at that thing, like.
Okay, it looks normal. To me, it looks normal lah.
It's quite scary, man.
After that, I was like, okay, I'm not coming here again to fetch you. Yeah, so this is my story. Okay, so what about yours?
Okay, like what I mentioned, this happened few days before Halloween this year. So I was in the bus 232 to get down at the bus stop beside Bradel MRT station lah. So once I got down, I noticed that there was a funeral going on lah. So at the back of this bus stop, right, there's this like pavilion kind of area. It's like a open space for people to conduct any like celebration, like wedding, birthday, and funeral lah. So on that day was a funeral, and I've mentioned in one of my other story before, like whenever I see a funeral, regardless of race or religion, I would like to take a moment and pray for their souls to go up to heaven, rest in peace. That's it. Just to have a prayer for them. So as I noticed, right, it was a Chinese funeral. The whole place was yellowish lah. The decoration for the coffin area was yellowish. So I just took a moment when I was praying, right. Normally, there will be a few people like crying, or it'll be like full of sorrow, that kind of thing. I could see people like having their own conversation. I won't say they're so happy, but when funeral is a time when they meet each other and all that. So they were like quite like sad, but they were talking, chit-chatting all the way. But I could hear one person crying. And the crying was not like normal, it was like moaning and crying, And it was like a male voice.
Okay.
So I was just looking around. There was no one crying at the tables area, They were all seated down, they were just talking only. That's when I realized that the sound was actually coming from inside where they've placed the body of the person who passed away.
Okay.
So I was a bit like, I wanted to kepo lah and all that. I wanted to walk to the bus stop lah. I'm sorry, the MRT station. But the crying grew louder. And I was very bothered by it. So I was like, okay, maybe there's someone who needs help or what lah. I don't know lah. But don't know what made me think this. I went to see who was crying. Then the crying and the moaning was growing louder, and it was very low, like a low kind of crying, just like crying to themselves only, So as I just peeped inside, there was this like person beside the coffin crying. He was like a bit like injured lah. I could see like he had like bruises on his face and all. He was crying to the person who passed away. I was like, maybe this guy could be a friend, could be a brother, could be anything lah. So I felt very sad lah. The person is crying non-stop, Then something made me glance at the photo.
Okay.
And that made me realize that the person who was crying and looking at the dead person is the same person. Yes. And how I double confirmed this was, after looking at the photo and I looked back at the person, right, something was a bit off. If it was like us normal human being, we want to see the deceased and we have to lean forward and all that, right? This person was slightly merged into the coffin. He was like a bit transparent and he was inside the coffin a bit. Not at the head part or the tail, the legs part. in the middle of the like shoulder area, no, he was inside a bit. I creeped out. I seriously creeped out. And I was praying that I hope you don't see me. I don't want him to suddenly just look at me. I don't want that to happen. So I just backed away. I didn't turn my back to him. I don't want to be disrespectful. I backed away. And I went back to the bus stop. I just went and sit down there for a while. I was like, shit, what did I just see? And then when I just looked back at the crowd, they were talking among themselves. All the way when I took the train, all the way when I reached Yishun, all the way when I took a feeder bus back to my place, I was still thinking about it. But once I reached home, right, I totally like slipped off my mind. I took a shower and all that, and I didn't even talk about it.
Aiyo, it's very creepy, you know.
That's why, because it was so sad to see that, like, it's as though this person, like, he like as though didn't know what happened to him like that. You know, like from seeing him having the bruises and all that, like his shirt all was so messy. So I don't know how he passed away. He was in an accident or his time was up or I don't know. I don't want to go to the extent of thinking otherwise like he was murdered and all that. I don't want to think that way. That's not a nice thing to think of but seeing him have bruises and all that, maybe he met with an accident and passed away, I don't know. It was quite scary because it's like this kind of things is so unexplainable.
Yeah, because it's like maybe he like couldn't realize that he's away, you know, he's no more there for his family.
Yeah.
So he's crying or it's actually not his time yet, you know. So this kind of things is very like what you say, can't explain until you experience this. Like maybe I only will get to know about this when my time is up. Then only
correct.
Until then it's very difficult to explain to people, especially to those people that they don't believe. It's very very difficult to explain to them. But anyway, I'm happy that nothing happened to you after that, because usually this kind of thing will follow you. So thank God for that.
And this one really reminded me of the movie, you know there's a Malay movie called Kurafat. At the climax part where it shows the hero actually he returns back home and he sees there's a huge gathering. So his mindset is his mother passed away. So he goes there, he sees the legs, the corpse is lying down in the house. He goes and hug the leg and say, I'm sorry I left you, that kind of thing. But when he look at the body, right, it's actually his body. He died from an accident. And he would be crying throughout the entire funeral procession. So I don't know, like that was a movie. But this one is like something very real because maybe this person didn't realize that he was dead. Yes guys, this one was really very eerie and it still gives me the chills because this just happened recently.
Okay, so we have come to the end of our episode, alright? So before we end this episode, we would like to share that recently we did a short film, okay, for Halloween special. Alright, so what's the title?
Oh yeah. Indescribable.
Yes.
Cannot describe.
Yeah, difficult to describe. Okay, so please go and watch the movie.
It's a short film.
Okay, so please go and watch it, share your views, your comments, alright? And yeah, so we'll catch you up with our next one. So until then, signing off, VarshAnju.
Chaps.